Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm actually going to do a review in comparison, which is the Titan X versus the 980 Ti and the advantages of both. As you can see right here on the PC I'm going to be playing on is the GeForce GTX Titan X. I have a 5960X overclocked to 4.7, 64 gigs of RAM in here. My display is the XB280HK by Acer, and I'm using the NVIDIA's current driver in Windows 8.1 Pro. Without further ado, let's get into some gameplay and let's talk about the comparison. So it's loading up. Okay, let's play it. And this is just one of the games I want to use to show you guys the actual what the difference may be. If you look at the upper left hand corner, it's showing my usage of GPU, and right now I'm just at the main intro screen. I'm about to load the game right now. I do have my card overclocked. My core clock offset is plus 200 and my memory is plus 260. I have it stable, so that's the settings that works best for the Titan X. I'm using that to try to compensate for the loss that I'm having due to, this NVIDIA capture software. Right now I'm getting into some gameplay. As you can see right here, look at my memory usage. I'm over 7 gigs of usage on here. And this is at 4K. What I could do is I'm going to actually show you guys my settings in a second. Just some gameplay right here just so you get an idea of actually how it's actually performing. And right here, as you can see, it's pretty smooth gameplay. I'm at around 46 frames per second. And that's over for him. And this is over for him. Guys keep saying, me personally, I'm not going to down any one of the cards, because no matter which card you get, just get the one that you can afford. Yes, there is a $350 price difference in the two, or $300, or even less than that, depending on which version of the 980 Ti that you get. As of right now, as I said, this card was like what, $999.99 from NVIDIA, free delivery, everything like that. Do a little quick sequence right here. I saw a video of this gameplay with the 980 Ti. For some odd reason, it was in the high 5 gig range, which is kind of strange because right now, as you can see, you're in about the low to mid 7 gig range of memory usage of the card. A lot of times that could be NVIDIA and their drivers to make the card seem like something that it's not. Me personally, if I was to buy the 980 Ti, I would have had no problem with purchasing it from my other computer, which has the 780 Ti, if it had at least 8 gigs of memory on there, memory VRAM. There's more than just Shadow Mordor that's actually using this. And with DirectX 12 coming out, it's going to allow developers to actually put more content on your VRAM instead of your system RAM. Because as of right now, I know you guys can't see this. This game is using probably like a total of 5 gigs of system RAM, system memory, and that's not a lot. Some games actually go up to 11 gigs, and I've seen a few go up to 12. But this game right now is only using 5, but it's using 7. Without further ado, let me show you guys my settings I'm using. As you can see right here, resolution is at 4K or 3840 by 2160. Or 2K, however you want to look at the number and you want to read and translate it at. But it's 3840 by 2160, which everybody considers to be 4K. This GPU, you see, it's the Titan X. VSync is off because this is a G-Sync monitor. Let's go back. Advanced options. Graphical detail is custom. Lighting quality is high. Mesh quality is ultra. Motion blur / anti-aliasing. I don't like FXAA because for me personally, it blurs my image a little bit, and I do not like motion blur at all. I'm paying just to get a crisp, clean, clear image, so that's what I actually want. Everything else, shadow quality, texture filtering, texture quality, ambient occlusion, vegetation range, everything there is at ultra. Depth of field is off because once again, I'm playing for a crisp, clean picture. I don't want it to blur out anything in the distance. If I want that effect, it's good that I have the option, but me personally, I don't get it. It's like, why go 4K? You're going 4K because you want a clean, crisp image. So why would I try to, make things in the distance look blurry or foggy or anything like that? This is a game. It's not real anyway. So in a real world, depending on where you're at, distance may vary, the clarity of the distance, but it depends on, pollution, smog, other little environmental factors. Tessellation's on. So everything is pretty much set to max other than, motion blur and anti-aliasing, which anti-aliasing on most games, for me personally, I don't need it because I don't see a difference. Certain games, yeah, you may want it. It helps a little bit. For some odd reason, it helps on the Assassin's Creed Unity, the lowest level of anti-aliasing. It makes it look a little bit more sharper. And I noticed it sometimes on a few other games, but most games, no, it's not needed. It's just, you want to just put more work on your graphic card and lose frames for no difference. A lot of people say I like to go ultra everything. I don't do that. If it doesn't make a difference depending on what you're using, why ultra it out? It's no difference. You're just taxing your graphic card. You're taxing your resources. You're pulling more electricity from your wall, and you're not noticing the difference. And in some instances, like anti-aliasing FXAA, you can blur your image out just a little bit, and to me, I notice it, so I don't like it, and I don't like a blurry image. But back to the comparison, as you can see, I'm using over 7 gigs of usage for this game, and I've seen it go all the way up to about 7,700. It could have went higher than that. I wasn't paying attention to a lot of stuff that was going on because I was actually just trying to get into the gameplay. But as you can see right here, this is what's happening. As I said, developers, they're going to tell you it's stackable memory. You can get 2 980 Ti's, and it's going to probably cost you around $400 to $500 over a Titan X. Now, as we know with SLI and how long it's been out, how many variants of DirectX has come out with SLI in the mix. You see how well that works with artifacting. A lot of games not even supporting SLI. So you see all the problems that SLI incur and actually, presents to you. And they say, well, SLI, we're going to stack the RAM. Okay, when they stack the RAM, does that mean you're going to get 100%, from, if you have 6 gigs, you add 6, now you're at 12? Are you going to get a full 12, or are you going to lose like you do in SLI? A lot of people don't know this. In most games, SLI isn't, if you're getting 40, let's say right now I'm looking at 45 frames, you add another card, you're not going to be at 90. You may only be at 55, you could be at 60, you could be at 70. You can, if you're lucky, you may hit 80, but you're not going to get 100% scaling. There is loss there in SLI. DirectX 12, I'm not saying it's going to be a bad thing. I'm waiting for it. It's long overdue. I think it's a great tech, but I'm more into single cards because SLI brings its own set of problems that I don't want to have to deal with. It's just like its own headaches. And as you can see right here, this is a single card solution, 12 gigs of RAM. I will tell anybody, just like last year with the 780 Ti, or a year and a half ago when that card came out, a lot of people were saying, 3 gigs is enough. No, it wasn't. I knew at the time of purchasing that card, it wasn't going to be enough. I was just waiting for the next Titan variant to come out so I could purchase that. I knew it wasn't going to be enough for gaming at any level. I don't believe in the such thing as, this card is overkill or this card is too much. For a single card, you get the best card you can afford because there's no such thing as future-proof. Everybody keeps saying, well, I'm future-proof. How are you future-proof? You don't know what's coming out tomorrow. You don't know what's coming out next year. You don't know what those games are going to require. The only thing you know is that for right now, that the games that are available that you can play, you're able to see that you can run these games without a problem. you're going to get a certain frame rate where you go to videos like mine or other people on YouTube, and you get an idea of actually how they are performing the games that you want. But the game for tomorrow, you never know. And as I said with this game right here, you got a 980 Ti. If something happens with that driver, and I'm almost at 75, 7.5 megabytes. Something happens to that driver, and the other 1.5 gigs of data that's over the 6, you're going to start getting stuttering inside that game. And I hated that with the 780 Ti. I thought that, it's a very great car. It's powerful. Yes, NVIDIA nerfed it, and I will agree with that. But when you get over your VRAM usage, it's a stuttering mess. Your frames will start dipping. Like right now, I'm getting 44, 45. My frames will dip to the teens just because I don't have the VRAM required. And now I'm going in here, my options, just for example, wrong one, sorry about that. I'm going to my options, and now I'm turning everything down, especially the texture quality. It goes down because right here it says 6 gigs or greater, and as you can see, you need the greater. Maybe the 6 gigs is with other things turned down or turned off, but you can see here what I'm using, or maybe it wasn't even gauged at 4K, which I have it at. And for me personally, everybody that's getting the 980 Ti, I still think that's a great card. I think that you guys are, still getting a good purchase. But if you look at it, depending on what variant of it that you actually get, me personally, I don't down anybody for any card you purchase. Your purchase is your purchase. You deal with your card, you live with your card. I hope that you are happy with the card that you purchase. But for me, I don't want to run into this VRAM issue again. And just for a heads up, another game that's using over 6 gigs of RAM is that Call of Duty, especially at 4K. You're at 7 gigs of VRAM usage easily. Even this game at 2K, you're over 6 gigs of VRAM usage once again. As I said, something happens to those drivers, the rest of the VRAM usage that you're supposed to be using that's not being used, you're going to have a problem. This game is using more VRAM than it's using actual system RAM. And I have plenty of system RAM because the specs said that, they want you to have around 24 gigs of system RAM for the Titan X. As you guys saw at the beginning of the video, I have 64. So it's pretty much maxed out. There's no more RAM I can add to my system because my board can only handle 64 gigs of RAM. I hate to keep going on and on and on about it. There's other differences between the cards, but to me the biggest one is your video RAM. And I don't want you guys to be, buying this card and then, let's say Metal Gear comes out or something else and that game wants some very hellacious amount of video RAM, which I'm not saying it is or it is not. But if it does, you guys can be prepared for it. And another thing, reason why I say 8 gigs of VRAM, a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but to each his own. When the last generation of consoles came out, or the current generation of consoles, when they came out, they had specs of 8 gigs. We all know that around 4 gigs is only being used for gaming, but the developers had in their mind 8 gigs. So when you go into PC or when they go into development and they start developing some of their games, they had in mind that it's going to be 8 gigs of video usage. That's why some games have been, postponed and everything, because the specs wasn't the available specs for the developers, and they actually had to code around that. That's why you have certain games that are using so much VRAM or so much processing power or something like that. That's the reason why. So we're looking at that, and you're still looking at games want to start using up more textures. You want to start putting more stuff bypassing your system, like you want to start bypassing the RAM, you want to start bypassing your CPU. The reason being is because they are your Achilles heel in your system. They're your weakest links. Like right now I have a 5960X. I had it at 4.8. I put it down to 4.7 because I didn't notice any difference in anything. That 0.1 made no difference to me, but it was consuming more electricity. So what I did was, by nerfing it, I was able to bring my my voltage down to 1.30. I think it's 1.30, 1.31, somewhere around there. I was able to bring it down to, only because I went down to 4.7 on the cores. which is a pretty, hefty overclock. If you're at 4.5, be happy. That's a phenomenal overclock for the 5960X. But yeah, at the end of the day, whatever you purchase, guys, just pretty much be happy with what you purchase. You got a good setup. If you're at 1080p, 1440, or 4K, especially 1440, 4K, me personally, the Titan X is a perfect fit for that. If you're at 1080, I would say if you can afford the Titan X, go for the Titan X. If you think that the Titan X is going to be a bad purchase for you, go for the 980 Ti. If you're the type of person that wants to drop around $1,000 a year in GPUs, then go for it. Me personally, I just purchased my 780 Ti last year. I purchased the 780 about a few months before that, probably like 1 or 2 months before I purchased that. Before then, I had a 560 Ti, and then before then, I had a 8800 GT edition. So, I had my fair share of cards. I've been through it, and I do like the Maxwell architect for some odd reason. Every game runs smoother and better. So, for me personally, guys, it's up to you guys. But as you can see here, there are going to be more games that's going to start utilizing more VRAM. If you want to run into that VRAM cap and have that possibility, it's totally up to you guys. Me personally, that's the reason why I upgraded from my 780 Ti, is so that I don't have to worry about this issue anymore. I hope that this video has helped you all out, gave you an idea of what you guys want to look for. And yes, there is about 10% more CUDA cores inside the Titan X over the 980 Ti. So, you keep that in mind also. And the overclock's like a beast. As I said, right now it's 200 on a core and 260 on the memory. And I could actually go higher. I just have it here because, as I said, I'm using NVIDIA Capture. And my temperature is the way it is because I have a hybrid cooler connected to my card. So if you're seeing like around 55 degrees Celsius, I have my fans turned all the way down because I want the case to remain, as quiet as possible. But if I turn my fans up, it'd be around 49, 48 degrees Celsius under load. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it below. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Thank you.